Hi, I'm Devin from Career Fund. Welcome back to my home office. This week I wanted to talk a little bit about goal setting. I think a lot of times when it comes to our kids, we forget how much responsibility they really can handle. I'm actually terrible at this. My daughter is almost 8, and I'm really bad at remembering, like, hey, she can actually handle some household chores. So this is something I need to get better at myself. But I think as our kids get older, we need to hand off more responsibility to them. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck parenting them into their 30s and 40s, which is really not a thing you want to be doing. So this week, I thought we'd take a look at goal setting with our kids, and this may be something that you can use in your own life as well. So we are, of course, at the beginning of the school year. It's September 2020. Definitely the weirdest back to school on record. And I would say for that reason, it's even more important than usual to maybe take some time, carve out some time to take a look at this. It's going to be a strange year for our kids, whether you picked online or in-class learning. It's going to be difficult to have objective markers, I think, because not everybody's going to take to it. And I know my school board already is saying, okay, we've had a lot of complaints. We might need to shift classes. So it's a great time for kids to sit down and go, okay, so what's important to me and how can I work towards achieving those things that are important? And that could be any number of things, right? It may be that they're trying to achieve certain grades in certain subjects. It may be that they are trying to develop other skills when it comes to school. It may be that they just want to sleep better or study better. Or we might be talking about, personal bests in other activities that they're involved with, whether it's running or playing the guitar. Now, it's pretty widely accepted that one of the best ways to approach this is using the SMART system. And SMART is an acronym for a process of setting quality goals. So I'll go through it quickly in case you've never heard of it. The S stands for specific. So if your kids want to feel like they're more rested or they want to have better sleep, that's great. But you need to get really specific about what does that mean? What does that look like? So maybe they want to sleep so many hours a night, or maybe they want to feel refreshed for whatever. But they need to get specific about what that means. The M is measurable. Now, in some cases with goals, the measurability is pretty easy. The idea here is to define how are you going to know how the goal was met? Well, if your kid's goal is to, let's say, achieve a grade of 85 in chemistry, well, once they get the 85 in chemistry, they've met the goal. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty straightforward. But things like better sleep or improving my guitar playing or getting a personal best in my 10K run, that's a little bit more out there. So you definitely want to carve that out as to how are you going to know that you've met that goal. The third one is actionable. So this is where you define out the steps to how you're going to achieve the goal. So let's say your kid's goal is to play guitar along with their favorite song. I was about to say on the radio. Do kids still listen to the radio? Anyway, that's how old I am. But what does that break down to? So are they committing to practicing a certain amount every day? Are they committing to maybe mastering 8 bars of the song every week? What does that carve out to, and what are the steps they're going to take? The R in SMART is relevant. And basically it's why. Why is this goal important to you? What is it? Why is this something you feel is important to achieve? I would say if your kid's goal is academic based, dig into it. Because let's say they want the 85 in chemistry. Well, maybe they need an 85 in chemistry in order to get admission to the program they want to take in post-secondary. Fair. Maybe they want an 85 in chemistry because it's going to help them get the scholarship that will help them pay for the post-secondary program. Great. But if it's an 85 because they want to brag to their friends, or because an 85 for some reason looks a certain way to them, I would dig into that just a little bit more. They don't need to tie their self-esteem to the grades. It should be something that makes sense for an additional outcome. And the last letter, T, stands for time-based. So it's all well and good to say, oh, I'd really love to be able to do the whatever, but you don't want someday to be how that sentence ends. Get your kids to set a deadline on it. I want to be able to play along with this song by this band. This time I was about to say on my iPod. Wow, it's not a great week. Okay. by the end of October, by the end of November, by the end of the year, whatever that actually looks like. But have them set a deadline on it. The great thing about having a deadline is it gives you a check-in point. So you may look and go, wow, I'm not even close at my deadline. Or you might say, interesting, I hit my goal like 4 weeks ago. So that's a really good time to take a look at the goal and go, was it too ambitious? Was it not ambitious enough? How could I be doing this better? I would say this is an activity that would work really well for any student who's sort of maybe middle school age and up. So like grade 6, grade 7 through high school, into post-secondary, into being a grown-up. Maybe you know where I'm going with this. The idea is to give them a system and introduce them to it early. And later on, when they're job searching, when they're career planning, when they are looking more into, bigger goals they want to attain in life, hitting those big dreams, then they have a system in place that they're well equipped with using, and they've used many times, and they know how to self-evaluate and how to check their own expectations of themselves. It's also a great way to build confidence. And we all know preteen and teen years are brutal on our confidence. So it's not a bad time to, introduce it a little bit, give them something else. And, those times when they're like, oh, I'm such a loser. Oh, I'm so stupid. You can be like, hey, remember when you set all those goals and you achieved them in the timelines that you expected to? That's a person who's going places. Don't give up on yourself. So my tip for this week is take a little bit of time to carve out a couple of goals. It doesn't have to be super ambitious. It doesn't have to be, setting 50 goals to complete by the end of 2020. I think we can all agree that nobody's 2020 at all went the way they expected it to. But the idea here is to just introduce the process. And as I said at the beginning, maybe you'll find this a helpful exercise for you too. Thanks so much for joining me. I will see you back here next week for a new tip. You take good care.